What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. It's finally Friday, which means Assassin's Creed is out today. I'm going to go pick that one up. Mario Party, of course, also out. And then there's also an interesting game that I'm probably going to be looking at to try out this weekend called Astrobot. If you haven't heard of it, apparently, from what we've heard, it's the Mario 64 moment for VR. So I'm going to check it out and see what we have here. So you'll probably hear my thoughts on the podcast tomorrow for at least that game. Mario Party as well, because I do want to play some of that today and have some fun. So it's good to see that we finally can jump into Mario Party after hearing about it for so long now. Today we have some fun stuff to go over. There was an interesting patent that we saw from Nintendo that could give us an idea of where their mindset is with the mobile market and what they might want to try to do with it. First, though, let's talk about some of the quick news, starting with these really cool looking figures. I'm actually going to show you here. It's a Banjo-Kazooie and Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day, of course, as we all know and love Conker. These are pretty cool looking figures. When I first posted these on Twitter, people did immediately think of an amiibo. That's kind of what they are. They just don't have any functionality. It's from Totaku. And they did a line of figures earlier this year. I think actually at the beginning of the year, where they had like Crash Bandicoot, and they had Parappa the Rapper, and they also had Sackboy from Little Big Planet. Looks like they're going to be doing Banjo-Kazooie, and they're going to be doing Conker. These are officially licensed, which is pretty cool. Obviously, they have a little Xbox logo on there from Microsoft. And it seems that they're coming out later on this year. It's hard to say exactly when. I guess maybe like November or so. There's not a lot of time left in the year for these things to come out. And based on previous figures, these will probably be about $15. And you'll probably have to order online, much like we had to do with the Parappa the Rapper and what we saw earlier with Sackboy and everything else. But pretty neat. I like these little figures here. I didn't get any of the other ones from like the before Crash Bandicoot and stuff. But Banjo-Kazooie was a great game. I played that a lot back in the day. I might pick this Banjo figure up just because it's kind of neat to have and put it on the desk or something. Also, more news from the never-ending saga of Telltale Games, which is something I assume is winding down now. There's really not much left at this point outside of that class action lawsuit, the Minecraft game they're working on for Netflix, and then the possibility of hiring back people for Walking Dead. We'll see about all of that. But you remember how we talked about that skeleton crew, about 25 people that apparently was being left on? Well, it looks like they may have actually laid off people from that crew as well. You're seeing a tweet here from Rachel, who talks about how they have been laid off, and they mentioned the skeleton crew, if you will, of 25. And now I'm not really sure how many people are even left there at this point. They're down to the bare minimum of people that they need. Obviously, I don't think they have any money left, so they're just laying people off and cutting costs as much as possible. And I don't really know what's going to happen here. I guess at this point, once that Minecraft obligation is figured out with Netflix, I guess they'll see through that whole class action lawsuit situation. I have a feeling that the Walking Dead stuff probably isn't getting done. This is such a bad situation in the first place. I think at this point, Telltale Games just need to get that done for Minecraft. Just kind of take care of the employees of that class action lawsuit, declare bankruptcy, do something, because it's just a bad situation at this point. It's time for them to ride off into the sunset, and if they don't have any money left, there's not much to be done there, obviously, that class action lawsuit. But if they do have money, they'd be kind of hiding it and hoping they can get away with it. Hopefully that money does go to the employees in that class action lawsuit. Oh, and check this out. Ace Combat 7 is getting a collector's edition, at least in Europe. I have to see if there's any other information that comes out after this for any other audiences, any other parts of the world. As far as I can tell right now, it's only in Europe, and you're seeing a picture of it here, and it looks so cool. Now, I was already talking about getting Ace Combat 7 before they talked about VR. There's going to be VR for some missions, kind of a letdown, kind of a disappointment, but still be picking up Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. That's actually coming out January 18th. This collector's edition that they have shown off here looks really, really cool. That Arsenal Bird figure is actually 40 centimeters across, which is pretty large for a figure that comes in, or a model that comes in a collector's edition. Full art book with 150 pages. Apparently some interviews in there and some short novels as well that are written up. Metal pin and then a couple of patches. Very cool if you're a fan of Ace Combat. We'll just have to see if it is released anywhere outside of Europe, or you have to import it or whatnot. I don't know. But at least they're doing something there, and we'll just see if they decide to release it to other parts of the world. All right, guys, some of the quick news out of the way. Let's jump into some of the bigger stuff, and we're starting with one of the weirdest situations that I've seen in a while. Of course, we know about video game movies. They always try to break into that industry, video games transitioning to movies. It's not really been good in the past, right? We can all look at Dragon Ball Evolution and just say, well, maybe video games just aren't cut out for the movie world, but they keep taking a shot at it, and Capcom's going to take a shot at it with a live-action Mega Man movie. Yeah, that's right. They put out a press release, and it's happening. We heard prior there were rumors of this going on, and Capcom pretty much verified it. It's not even entered production stages at this point. It seems like a lot of planning, and they're going to, I guess, follow suit with what's happening with that Sonic movie that we heard about, with Jim Carrey playing Dr. Robotnik in a pseudo live action Sonic movie. This looks like it's going to be Capcom, I guess, taking a shot here with a live action Mega Man movie, and part of me is happy that Capcom is putting this much focus on Mega Man after 30 years now, a 30-year anniversary and everything. Great, because we saw Mega Man 11, which was a good return to form there for the Mega Man series, but now a live-action movie that, let's face it, will probably come out and not do that well. I'm worried that could put a halt on the whole Mega Man thing, although it's going to come down to if they really make money from it or not. That's basically what it comes down to. Who cares about reviews for making a bunch of money? So we'll see, but I don't think this movie's going to be coming out till 2020, maybe even 2021, to be honest. And before then, we'll at least get to see how the Sonic movie is accepted or not. We'll see how that goes down with the revenue that makes, and then we can kind of move on and see how the Mega Man one will do. Mega Man live action movie. This is weird. Next up, let's talk about Monolith Soft. Now, you probably have played a Xenoblade game if you recognize that name, because they've done some great work with Xenoblade. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was awesome on the Switch in its first year. It's a great game. If you haven't played it, I recommend checking it out. But it looks like they are moving on now after doing, of course, Torna, the Golden Country. Looks like they're moving on to their next project because they're starting to recruit for that project. And this is actually found, I saw this on Gamatsu, they had the full translation. This is what it said. Monolith Soft's first production development department, which developed Xenoblade Chronicles, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, is hiring staff for the development of a new RPG project. I wonder what they're gonna make next. Could it be another Xenoblade game? Yeah, probably. I mean, what do you think it's gonna be? It'd probably be Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or Xenoblade 3, or maybe they come up with a whole different name and subheading and everything for it, but it's pretty clear Xenoblade Chronicles 2 sold enough for them to look forward and make another one. Obviously, it's apparently the best-selling game in the whole series, and that's good to see for, I guess you would look at it and say a franchise that's not super old. Of course, you like Xenogears and stuff, but Xenoblade, when that came out on the Wii, that kind of broke onto the scene. There was that whole situation with GameStop opening new games because it was GameStop exclusive to sell as used and jack up the price and everything. But fortunately, they went forward with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That hit the scene and did really, really well. I think it's over 1.5 million units by now. So for a JRPG, that's very good. And it's good to see we're going to move on and apparently, I guess, in this case, see their next project, which, again, we assume is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So if you liked Chronicles 2, if you liked Torna, look forward to it, because I don't know when we're going to hear about it. This could be a project saved for the later years, later half of the Switch. This could be something we see or hear about in 2020 for like a 2021 release. RPGs they take a little while to make. But it's exciting nonetheless to see them starting to hire and figure out what their next project is. Next up, let's talk about a patent that Nintendo had filed back in March that is now made public. And that is an interesting looking case for what we can assume to be a cell phone or tablet device. I figured cell phone right away because in the diagrams they showed what appeared to be a cell phone because it had like a camera and everything, or at least has a cutout for a camera on the front and kind of on the back. And this is an interesting idea. It's a case that appears to give a touchscreen buttons. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen this before. We saw Hyperkin try to do this with a terrible product that you put your phone in and you can put an actual Game Boy game in the back. This appears to be something set up for phones that would just work with Game Boy games that maybe Nintendo thinks to release on phones or tablets for like the Google Play Store or the iOS's App Store. Maybe you can go in and you can just buy, I don't know, a Pokemon game, which would be crazy, by the way, because if Pokemon ever released on cell phones, they would make millions of dollars in like the first day, no questions asked. It's like just a ton of money to just make just like that for porting it over. So it would be interesting to see that, and it seems like this device, while this probably won't be the exact device that we see, it kind of gives us an idea as to what Nintendo's thinking is right now to make the cell phone, I guess, gaming process a little more interesting. Touch screens aren't great for controls, specifically Game Boy or emulator controllers. Ever played it? You usually have to look to see where, the buttons are and everything, and it gets in the way. I like the idea of it kind of going into a case that makes it look like a Game Boy, although your cell phone's not exactly going to live in that case, and if you get a call, you probably got to take it out of it and talk on it and everything. But this is interesting, and it also shows, like I said, Nintendo, they do view that mobile market as a place where they can make a lot of money, rightfully so. Everyone's making money in mobile devices, even if you don't have a great game, because the mobile division is still kind of young and it's still kind of getting overflowed. But even if you have a game that has microtransactions in it, it seems to work well for the free-to-play market. Nintendo's clearly learned that with what we've seen with their last game, Dragalia and everything, and then, of course, Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem, all making more money than Super Mario Run, which was just a straight-up purchase price. But it'd be kind of neat to see them sell these games on the App Store and everything. Easy money, and it's just a bigger audience to get to that could in turn lead to them buying a Nintendo Switch or other products from Nintendo. A lot of people are also thinking that this might have something to do with the Switch, where you can put the Switch in there, as they do kind of describe a tablet as well. My only issue with that is why? We have physical buttons that you can use with the Switch anyway, with Joy-Con controllers or a Pro controller. The idea of it going and being on a phone is that a phone doesn't have physical front-facing buttons, so you kind of need that. I don't think I'd put my Switch in a case like this when I can just use my Joy-Con controllers. But let me know if you would buy a case like this for your phone if it was a first-party Nintendo product that gave you full-on Game Boy-esque buttons for the games that they're releasing on the App Store or the Google Play Store. And our last bit of news, let's talk about something that is still amazing to me that this has not been fixed or resolved, and that's being able to change your name on the PlayStation Network. Now, the PSN, when it first showed up on the PS3, you chose your name and you went off and you played some games, only later to realize that that really dumb name that you came up with cannot be changed unless you just go make a whole other account. So if you have trophies and stuff tied to that, well, that's just too bad. And we've been asking for a long time, when can we change our PlayStation Network? In fact, at PlayStation Experience last year, if you remember, there was nice back and forth with Greg Miller and Sean Layton and everything, and they talked about that, and he said, oh, next PlayStation Experience, hopefully you won't have to ask me that again.
Fire away. When will we be able to change our PlayStation Network names?
Let me put it this way. I hope we'll see events occur that you don't have to ask me that question next PSX.
Okay. I thank you for that answer.
Well, there's no PlayStation Experience this year, so they got out of that one. But according to Kotaku, it sounds like game designers are being asked by Sony, in this case, to update their game, make sure everything is on the up and up for these name changes that are apparently happening soon-ish. Now, according to Kotaku and other sources, the issue here appears to be them not tying, what originally thought of here with the PSN, not tying names to like a universal string or just universal coding. And it seems like they have to go back and they have to fix, at least in their multiplayer games, the ability to change your name and it still recognize your name. It's something they have to retroactively go back and do, and that's obviously a lot of work, a ton of labor. But if Sony's going around telling them to do this, it's something that they, I guess, want to get done in the next 5-6 months. I think this is going to be a 2019 thing, and I think it's going to happen before E3. If they announce this at E3 and everyone cheers, that's just kind of sad that people are so excited for a feature like changing your name. We've been able to do it on the Xbox for a long time now. The first one, I believe, was free, and then you have to pay 800 points, or it was 800 points back then. I don't know what that converts to or anything. I think it's a couple bucks, and you could change your name, but it's still weird to me that this is not offered on the PlayStation Network, and people are still asking for it. But hey, if you've been wanting to change it, at least you probably won't have to wait much longer. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about, whether it is that Game Boy patent. What do you think about being able to put your phone in a Game Boy case and play Game Boy games with physical buttons on your touchscreen phone? Let me know about that down below. And then, of course, let me know about the PlayStation name changes or the Mega Man live action film. Let me know if that even has a chance. I'm really curious. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys back here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.